There's a number I want you to know by the end of this video. It's somewhere between $18,000 and $35,000. That's not your salary. That's not your rent. That's the money you're probably losing every year to spending habits that feel completely normal, because they were designed to feel that way. I know because I ran the math on myself in 2019, sitting at my kitchen table with a greasy scrap of paper. The number I got was $23,400. I just stared out the window for 10 minutes like my brain needed to reboot. And the worst part? I wasn't being reckless. I was being normal. That normal put me $87,000 in debt. So here's what we're doing. 7 money habits that society tells you are fine, the actual math on each one, and at the end, we're adding it all up into one number you can take with you. I fell for every single one of these. Let's see how many you recognize. Let's start with the biggest normal lie in your budget, the car payment. Right now, the average new car payment is around $748 to $772 a month. Used is still like $532 to $537. Leasing is about $596. So if you're thinking, my payment's normal, yeah, normal is just expensive now. And the payment is only the tip of the iceberg. AAA puts the total annual cost of owning a new car at about $12,297 a year. That's roughly $1,025 a month when you count gas, insurance, maintenance, registration, everything. The rate is just the part they put in big font. The self-trick is, I can afford it because I can make the monthly payment. That's monthly payment thinking, not total cost thinking. And it's getting brutal. About 20% of new car payments are over $1,000 a month, and 84-month loans are over 21% now. 7 years of your cash flow tied to something that goes down in value. Interest makes it worse. Used car APR averages around 11.26%. Even at 6.5%, a $40,000 loan over 72 months is about $6,988 in interest. For the privilege of owning your own stress. And then the underwater trap. Almost 30% of trade-ins are negative equity, averaging over $7,200. So you roll the old mistake into the new one and act surprised you're broke. If you're trying to get out of debt, that car payment is eating the money that's supposed to free you. Reliable doesn't mean new. A solid used car, paid in cash or financed short and boring, is you buying control back. Buy now, pay later is debt that doesn't feel like debt. It's dopamine now, 4 little payments later. And those payments are spread across 5 or 10 apps, so your brain never registers it as I'm in debt. It just feels like adulting. And it's exploding for a reason. BNPL spending was about $80.77 billion in 2024, projected to hit $122.3 billion in 2025. Companies don't scale that fast unless the product works on humans. What's scarier is it's drifting from sneakers and gadgets to essentials. Groceries, around 25% usage in 2025, up from 14% in 2024. Financing food isn't a life hack, that's an alarm. Around 60% of people use BNPL for stuff they couldn't otherwise afford. So it stops being payment flexibility and becomes a budget replacement. The trick is friction. Pay in 4 changes the question from, do I want this? To, can I fit the rate? Also, the costs aren't zero. About 29% pay late. Average late fee is roughly $10, and when you add overdrafts and other nonsense, it can be like $176 a year in extra damage. And the nastiest trap, deferred interest. A $2,500 laptop on 0% for 12 months at 31% APR deferred. If you miss it by $100, you can get hit with around $430 in back interest. Credit cards are how the pile never shrinks. BNPL is how you accidentally build the pile in the first place. Here's the lever. Add up every single small monthly payment into one number. In 2019, I did that and almost fell off my chair. $340 a month across 6 apps. If your little payments add up to a car payment, it's a car payment. And financing should be for building assets, rarely. Financing consumption is basically a debt generator with a cute checkout button. Food delivery is the sneakiest budget leak because it doesn't feel like shopping, It feels like dinner. The average person is spending about $118 a month on delivery. That's $1,416 a year, for the privilege of eating lukewarm fries in your own house. And no, it's not a few bucks more. Once you stack the app markup, fees, and higher menu prices, you're often paying 69% to 134% more. Postmates was one of the worst offenders with about 46.4% of the total as hidden fees. And they hide it in little slices: service fee, delivery fee, small order fee, distance fee, tax, tip, plus the menu price is magically 15 to 30% higher in the app. Real example: a $9.85 Chick-fil-A order ends up $16.87 to $23.01. Same nuggets, different math. And those memberships, DashPass, Uber One, often save you money by making you order more. That's not a discount, that's a multiplier. 3 orders a week at $35 all in is about $455 a month. That's $5,460 a year. Last week, Sarah goes, "Biscuit eats more gourmet than we do." And she was right. We DoorDashed again while groceries sat in the fridge. Pickup or cooking isn't a morality thing. Same hunger, cheaper structure. Credit card minimum payments sound responsible. Like, look at me, I'm doing the thing. But they're designed to keep you paying forever, because the average APR right now is around 21 to 22%. New cards are pushing 23.7%. That's not a little interest. That's a wealth shredder. And it's not just you. U.S. credit card debt hit $1.277 trillion in Q4 2025, highest since they started tracking it, and about 47% of cardholders carry a balance. Here's the math that made me shut up and pay attention. $5,000 at 22% APR is about $92 in interest in month 1. If you pay $150, roughly 60% of that payment just evaporates into interest. You're basically renting your own purchases. BNPL is how the pile shows up by accident. Minimum payments are how the pile never goes down. And while you're stuck paying minimums, you can't build an emergency fund, so the next car repair goes right back on the card. Do this today. Take your minimum payment, add $50, set it on autopay, and give it an end date. Either you pick the finish line, or the bank does. Subscriptions aren't killing you because Netflix is expensive. They're killing you because they're permanent. Little monthly withdrawals that quietly shrink the exact breathing room you need for a debt snowball. Real numbers. The average person is spending about $69 a month on streaming, but across all subscriptions it's around $924 a year. And the extra rude part? The average unused subscriptions are about $32.84 a month. Call it $205 a year. Literally paying for stuff you're not even using. 64.8% of people forget to cancel a free trial before it charges, and 85.7% have at least one unused subscription right now. Of course you do. That's the business model. Gym memberships are the classic. 67% don't get used, and the average is, yep, about $69 a month. We're collectively lighting billions on fire to feel like the kind of person who goes to the gym. In 2020, I found a meditation app on my bank statement. Used it once. Paid for 11 months. Inner peace. Sponsored by my own stupidity. Here's the fix. Make one list of everything that bills monthly, do one cancellation session, and set a rule. One subscription per category. One music, one video, one whatever. And I'm curious, what's the dumbest subscription you let run way too long? Drop it in the comments. I actually read those. This one's invisible because it doesn't have a name on your bank statement. It just says Amazon or Target 14 times a month. Impulse spending. The I had a bad day purchase. The it's only $20 that happens 3 times a week. Americans average around $314 a month in impulse buys. That's $3,768 a year, on stuff that felt urgent for about 9 seconds. And it's not random. It spikes when you're stressed, tired, or bored, which, if you're in debt, is basically always. About 71% of Americans say they've made impulse purchases they regretted. The emotion passes, the charge doesn't. I had a phase where I'd buy random stuff on Amazon at like 11 p.m. Phone chargers, a beard trimmer I didn't need, a book about minimalism, which is ironic on several levels. Sarah started calling it my feelings cart. The fix isn't willpower. It's a 48-hour rule. Put it in the cart, close the app, check back in 2 days. If you still want it and it fits the budget, fine. But most of the time you'll forget it even existed, because you never actually wanted the thing. You wanted the click. Here's the boss level, the raise that keeps you broke. A lot of people aren't broke because they don't make enough. They're broke because normal keeps getting more expensive every time their paycheck goes up. Half of people making over 100K still live paycheck to paycheck. And even at 300K, it's like 40%. That's not a math problem. That's a lifestyle problem. Because the raise shows up and, without a meeting, without a decision, it turns into an upgrade budget. A little nicer apartment, a little nicer car, more takeout, better trips. And the story is, I earn more, so I deserve more. Socially, totally accepted. Financially, that's exactly how debt becomes permanent. True story. My first raise in logistics was $4,200 a year. 3 months later, I had a more expensive apartment and exactly $0 more saved. I basically gave my raise to a landlord. The fix is boring but deadly. Decide your raise plan before you get the raise. Pick a percentage, like 50%, that automatically goes to debt and emergency fund. Make it automatic. New money gets assigned to freedom before lifestyle can eat it. Because lifestyle creep makes you immune to progress. You fix 5 things, and the new normal erases all of it. And hey, if this is helping, hit like. It costs you nothing, and it pushes this to people who need it. And if you're new here and you're thinking, okay, this guy's not selling me a dream, subscribe. I do this every week. No guru stuff, just math and honesty. Now the final number that ties all of this together. Alright, here's the part where we stop talking about habits and we turn it into one number. Let's do the boring math. Average new car payment, about $772 a month. That's $9,264 a year. And if you look at total cost to own, it's more like $12,297 a year. BNPL and little random pay in 4 stuff, say it's only $200 a month. That's $2,400 a year. And the late fees, overdrafts, whatever, tack on a typical extra $176. Food delivery at the average, $1,416 a year. If you're doing the 3 times a week, $35 all in thing, that's $5,460. Credit cards. If you're carrying $5,000 and living on minimums, you're looking at roughly $1,000 a year in interest, easy. Subscriptions, about $924 a year, plus another couple hundred in the ones you forgot you even had. Impulse spending, $314 a month average. That's $3,768 a year on stuff you can't even name a week later. And lifestyle creep, raise disappears at $300 a month? That's $3,600 a year. Conservative version, you're already north of $18,000 a year. Real life version for a lot of people is 25 to 35K. That's not a latte factor. That's a second income you're quietly spending. I did this in 2019 on a greasy little scrap of paper at my kitchen table. The number I got was $23,400, and I just stared out the window for 10 minutes like my brain needed to reboot. So don't try to fix everything tonight. Pick one lever. The car is the biggest cash flow lever. The credit card is the most expensive lever. Delivery is the fastest lever. Pick one, turn it hard enough that you can see it in your bank balance. That's how you buy options back. Emergency fund, debt freedom, and breathing room.